Hey, good Tuesday morning, my friends. MLive Chief Meteorologist Mark Torregrossa here with the MLive Morning Weather Update. Let's say hi to some folks. Kyle Edmar, good morning. 46 and clear in Traverse City. A little on the cool side. And, mornings can still be cool to even cold. I don't see a frosty morning in the next week, but it certainly can still happen. Good morning from Grass Lake, Catherine Cyphers. And Tim Nosek and Larry Pusker, good morning to you. All right, here we go. Story here is we have a warm-up. Pretty modest, pretty strong warm-up, I guess I would say. And then we have a rain on Friday, a little bit of a cool down for the weekend, not cold by any stretch, back to the 50s and 60s for afternoon temperatures, and then warm back up, and even some signs that we might flirt with 80 degrees sometime next week. Hey, Catherine Cyphers finally caught me live. Good morning to you. If I could, just for a second, here's what we've figured is the best practice. Bookmark mlive.com/weather, and then the live post that you went into to get to the YouTube link, that will always be pinned to the top when I post it. I post that at about 8:15 in the morning, and then if you go into that, you'll have the YouTube link, and you can find it live. And then they're pushing out the notification, which it seems to come out quick sometimes, but occasionally they push it out and find that it doesn't come out super quick. So I'm not really sure on that. Right now, the radar shows some showers over in Madison, Wisconsin. I just got a weather report from my favorite weather spotter, my mom, near Madison, and she said that the light rain has ended there. So here's a radar forecast. And what will happen is, since this is light rain now, it usually dries up and falls apart during the day. And that's, in fact, what the models kind of show. So we go to noon, 1, 2, 3 o'clock. And that doesn't mean we couldn't have clouds, a stray little sprinkle or shower. All right, Lisa Collins planting some stuff in Saginaw Township. Good call. And then this is this afternoon, 5, 6, 7 o'clock. So, maybe a stray sidewalk wetter is what I call it for the Traverse City area north. And this is this evening. So I'm going to call it generally dry, but if you see these small returns on the radar forecast, it also means you get some clouds. Now we pick up with the next radar forecast. Goes out 60 hours. I got to read this comment from Kyle Edmark. Good big Packers fan here. Heading to the draft in Green Bay, hoping the showers stay away. Well, let's drop back for the Packers fan. Looks like, not much as you cross the UP, I'm guessing. Light rain off and on for an hour or two, about it. Again, now we go to the next model that goes out farther. It also shows tonight just a smattering of light sprinkles, and it shows this thunderstorm complex developing northern Iowa, and tonight and tomorrow morning rolling across I-94 southward and diminishing. So you got a shower or thunderstorm there. And then we go into Thursday, and we don't really have much. That's why I say Friday is really our next rain. So we pick up with the European model here. And this is what the European model does on Wednesday. It does a little bit more precipitation in the southern third south of I-94. And then here is Friday morning into early afternoon and early afternoon into evening. And then by Saturday, we should be dried out. high pressure builds in from the northwest, so that'll be a little cooler, not cold. These aren't systems that are bogging down and getting a lot of northerly wind behind them. They're just a northwest flow for 6 to 12 hours, drops the temperature 5 or 10 degrees. And then Sunday's dry. Sunday looks great. And by Monday, we're back to a south wind. And by Tuesday, right there, you see those black squiggly lines lined from southwest to northeast. The wind blows mostly parallel to those. And in this case, with the low pressure over in Wisconsin or Minnesota, you'll have a southwesterly wind and really starting to warm up before the next cold front moves through. That's kind of the theme, is every 3 or 4 days we get in any one spot, you get 2-3 hours of scattered showers along a cold front, but nothing that looks like a big, long-lasting type rainfall. And most of them should be warm rains. So let's just look at the Europeans' ensemble mode. Remember, 51 tweaks, and it's total rainfall. So on Wednesday, it shows a quarter inch in the southern third of the state. For the rest of us, little if any. I'm showing you 24-hour amounts, so these will kind of move through. Thursday, it has some spotty 1/10 of an inch showers around the thumb back toward Traverse City. And then the main rain is Friday. And as we go to Saturday morning, you see that 1/4 to 1/2 inch. And that looks to be pretty much true. Again, I continue to think a great time to put grass seed down because it's still fairly cool, so your watering will last a while, and then Mother Nature will come by every couple of days. But you'll still have to do the lion's share of watering, but twice a day for 10 minutes on the seed will keep it moist. You could put some straw down too. Today we make it to about 61 in Saginaw and Bay City, 62 in Grand Rapids, and 63-ish in Ann Arbor and Detroit, 64 in Jackson, 64 in Kazoo. Mid-50s Traverse City, so still cool. Tomorrow, this has popped up some, making it to 70 to 73. Tomorrow should be a very nice day. Thursday, very nice day with temperatures well into the 70s, unless you're right on the water. You still get that cool breeze within a couple of miles of the water, and you still need to take a coat with you. And then Friday, big temperature contrast depending on the wind flow. You might get some showers, northeast wind in Rogers City and Alpena, and you could be a bone chiller along with the UP, while anywhere from Saginaw to Big Rapids southward is really nice in the 70s. Saturday, let's call it 55 to 60. Sunday, let's call it 60 to 65. These are afternoon temperatures. Good rule of thumb. Good morning, Tom Ramsey. Good rule of thumb is to take off 15 to 20 degrees for a morning low temperature. So if you see, say, 65 in Grand Rapids, if you take off 20 for a clear night, you're down to 45. You're not frosty. And that's why I always say 55 at 5 o'clock in the afternoon is kind of my just general rule of thumb for a frost if it's going to happen. Because if it's clear and calm, it'll drop 20, maybe 25 degrees. So 55 minus 20 gets you down to 35. You're frosty. You're near 32 at the ground in low spots. And if you drop 25, you're down to 30. The next Monday, back into the 70s. Next Tuesday, this is advertising 80 degrees. We'll see. Southwesterly flow certainly could be in the 70s, and then a day in the 70s. May 1st in the 60s. May 2nd in the 70s. May 3rd in the 70s. So in other words, things are becoming really springy, and here's why. This is the upper airflow off the European in the ensemble mode. And what you'll notice is the heights in the atmosphere expanding. When you see the orange and red, that means that the height of the atmosphere is higher than normal at this time of the year. and that would say that the temperatures at the surface would be warmer than normal. This is next Tuesday. Look at the ridge is right over us. That's why you'd maybe make a run at 80 degrees. And then next Friday, May 2nd, next Saturday, you get the feel that a northwest flow can come back a little bit, but a mild northwest flow as the atmosphere stays slightly warmer than normal. So we have got this thing all figured out, folks. We know what's going on in weather, I think. Thanks for joining me on the MLive Morning Weather Update. I've been in this new format now for several weeks. I like it. I do like it. Still trying to work out the kinks of how you find us. And like I said, I think the best thing is for you to go to mlive.com/weather and bookmark it. That's what I actually do, because to monitor your comments, I have to get the YouTube feed also. So I go to my browser. I go to my browser on the phone, and then when I type in MLive, it brings up mlive.com/weather, and here's the weather page, and then there is the post always right at the top, if you could see it right there. So then you go into that. Of course, if you're watching, you know how to do it. You go into that, and then you can click on this link in the story to watch it live. So there you go. That's for the folks that watch this after the live. This will become public at noon, and then you can find it a lot easier. I'm not sure why on that, but our social team has a reason for that. So, hey, thanks for joining me on the MLive Morning Weather Update. I'm MLive Chief Meteorologist Mark Torregrossa. Guess what I'm writing about today? You know, when the weather gets quiet, I write garden articles. I call them Garden Talk. So watch for this. The Forgotten Rose. Remember that 2 or 3 decades ago? Always had to have a rose or two in the flower garden, but they were really high maintenance and, didn't perform really well. Disease-ridden if you didn't have them in the right spot. Well, they've changed. They've bred them to be more, easier to care for in this day and age. So I've got some information on that you'll want to check out if you're looking for something. I used a term in there, and I'm kind of like this right now. I'm over-hydrangeaed. Everything is, well, there's a spot for a bush. Let's put a hydrangea. Let's put a hydrangea. Prior to that, for decades, we were over-spireaed. Remember the spirea phase of landscaping? Spirea. Why? So now maybe we can go back to some roses. So check that out. Take care. I'm MLive Chief Meteorologist Mark Torregrossa.